If you're down for a little self-reflection, make the shifts that most resonate with you, that you've been hearing that call, and that would make the biggest impact in your life and the life of your family. Shift number 1. Good morning. It's a rainy day here in Texas. I want to share about shifts to give ourselves more freedom, specifically in motherhood. I've been reflecting a lot about like my early motherhood journey, or my earliest years in motherhood, and I'm gonna be honest that I struggled, and not every day, all the time. I think that especially as women, if we look back at a period and it wasn't just like absolute complete trash, then we don't feel like we have the right to be able to say that we struggled during that time period. And I think that whole situation is worth a second look, especially in our current cultures, the way that our current culture values mothers and caring for children. I think that probably a lot of people struggle, a lot of mothers struggle, a lot of parents struggle, and we wouldn't know because we're kind of unwilling to admit that or to dive into that because we don't feel worthy of claiming that for ourselves. So I just wanted to share some shifts that I have made throughout my experience as a mom that have given me more freedom, because that is definitely something that I've struggled with, that to feel like our freedoms are dwindling when we have children, or as we get older, as we take on greater responsibilities. And so I don't think that has to be our story. And these are just a few shifts that I've made that have given me more freedom in motherhood. I became a mother in 2020. And in addition to just the general state of the world at that time, co-creating life for me was absolutely transformative. My mindset shifted, my past to future thinking expanded. I show up differently in the world as a mother. My work here looks different. My transformation for sure did not happen instantaneously alongside the birth of my first child, but I can kind of track that as an initiating experience. Over the past 6 years, I have been called to look at myself with clear eyes and have felt the call and the guidance to grow up in various ways. I have been enlightened of my own agency, and in response to that have reoriented myself to be in a place of responsibility for my own freedom. I've talked about this a little bit on another video, but just the mindset shift towards radical responsibility has given me, so much movement towards freedom. Radical responsibility has given me the capacity to almost compensate for the massive shortcomings that mothers and families experience in our current culture. I don't believe that any one entity is responsible for these shortcomings, not the president, not the 1%, not worldwide pollution. These are just symptoms of a society that is no longer grounded in ethics of love. Our cultural ethic is no longer centered around goodness for a human being. And I also don't believe that I am blameless. I believe that our outer world reflects our inner world, so there's always work to be done here. There are always shifts that we can make to reorient ourselves towards freedom, towards cleaning up and polishing our inner world so that we can reflect goodness to our outer world. So if you're down for a little self-reflection. I just want to share some shifts that I've made, some really recently, some throughout my my experience as a mom throughout the last 6 years of my motherhood, that have given me more freedom and a greater sense of ease, peace, joy, gratitude, purpose. And also I share these shifts not to say that these shifts are for everyone or that everyone should shift in these same ways, but maybe to inspire you to make the shifts that most resonate with you, that you've been hearing that call, and that would make the biggest impact in your life and the life of your family. Shift number 1, I'm starting with laundry. Our dryer broke 6 to 7 months ago. It was October. I was so annoyed. As a family of 5, laundry is a huge part of our lives. My initial desire was to get the dryer fixed immediately, but my husband encouraged me not to worry about it right away. We already have a nice line set up outside by our garden, and he wanted to try line drying all of our laundry. I think at first I told him that I would be okay with that, but that he needed to kind of take on that project. He needed to head that project up, and that I would help occasionally, but that needed to be his thing. I know that I was definitely hesitant at first because it felt like I couldn't handle one more thing, like not one more time consuming task, not one more chore. But I also had in mind at the same time how our dryer had broken 2 Octobers before. So yeah, this was 2 years before, in October. My husband at the time was working outside of the home, and I had 2 young children at home, and I went super mom mode, which it's not a good mode for me, to be honest. So I researched the problem, and I ordered parts, and I started trying to fix the dryer. I thought, like, while my husband was at work one day, that I could fix it, and then it would be like such a nice surprise for him to come home to. And my daughter walked into the laundry room, and she just kind of randomly like stumbled and tripped, and she grabbed the edge of the dryer and somehow, I don't even know what part, sliced her finger open. And it was deep enough that we had to drive to the closest children's hospital to get stitches in her little finger. Looking back on that project, I can say that I really forced it. And the stitches incident only reflects some urgency and chaos that my family was experiencing at the time that really needed attention. It really needed to be addressed. That incident was part of the beginning of a time period that my husband and I were called to slow down and reflect on our marriage and on our family dynamics. It was honestly a really uncomfortable time period, but so necessary. So this last October, when the dryer broke again, and my husband suggested that maybe we take this opportunity to line dry while we wait for a little bit to fix the dryer, I knew that he was probably right, and that was probably a really good idea. I know this is our dryer, a seemingly inanimate object in our home, but I believe that we receive messages in a variety of ways. I believe that our anything in our environment can be impacted by the energy that we are exchanging with the world. And so I took this as a message, as a sign, as a call to slow down and make a shift. So since October, we've been drying all of our clothes on the line. Every single load of laundry has been dried on the line. And here's what it's done for me. Here's what this shift towards line drying has done for me. First, it has ensured that I get outside, even in the winter months. Our laundry line is on the east side of the house, which is the warmest part of the house, even especially in the morning. You can honestly be pretty comfortable on that side of the house, even in sub-freezing temperatures when the sun is rising, and it's incredible. I will say I do live in Texas, so we really only had a handful of days that I really needed to do laundry that day, and ended up drying them in our bathroom with the heater on, because it was like freezing rain outside or something like that. But I honestly only had to do that a couple times. I pretty much do our laundry barefoot, exclusively barefoot, even in winter. So I get the lovely grounded connection with the earth. I do laundry naked, or as close to naked as I possibly can, to get that full body sun. This connection with the sun and the earth is so important for me and for you. It has a tremendous impact on my mood, my mindset, my hormones, my health. Hanging clothes out is really meditative for me. And pretty much every time I hang our clothes up, I can't help but like turn back and admire just the work and the dedication that I've just finished. A laundry line also looks so romantic to me, with just the clothes or the sheets blowing, just waving gently in the breeze, and bringing our clothes and our sheets in with the smell of the sun is just like luxurious. I'll also say that because it is more work to individually hang up every article of clothing, every towel, and unpin every article of clothing, every towel, it's very easy to put into context how many clothes we have, how many towels we have, how many extra pillowcases we have. And so it's very easy to see where we can simplify, where we can get rid of clothes that we don't really need, or they're just not in the best shape, or get rid of some towels because you just do the laundry again. I aim to do a load of laundry every day or every other day, regardless. So it doesn't matter for me it doesn't hurt me to take down our number of clothes, even if that means washing those clothes more often, if that makes sense. I would say that clothes and laundry, wash them in an hour, get them dried and put away in 5 to 7 business days, that whole thing, I would say that contributes to some of the biggest mess in our home. And so if we have less, then that works great for me. Overall, I really love the slow outside nature of line drying. And while we may fix our dryer someday, the swap from a dryer to line drying outside may be a mostly permanent one for me. Okay, the second swap that I've made that's given me a ton of freedom in motherhood is from scrolling while breastfeeding to reading a book while breastfeeding. I got way more intentional with this one with my third baby. He's a little over 1.5. It's so easy to scroll while you're breastfeeding, and so tempting. It's just a little downtime, and scrolling can make you feel like you're kind of taking a break. You think that it's just like a mindless, restful activity, but it's so not. Your brain is working overtime, processing so much imagery, the constant, turnover of new images, new information, and your dopamine stores are being zapped, depleted so quick. Probably the best thing to do while feeding your baby is nothing. Just stare into your baby's eyes and have that connection, which I definitely do that too. But I know that sometimes habits need to be replaced with another habit. So I started leaving books at all of my go-to nursing spots around the house. I can do that. I can pick up a book and read from wherever. I can read multiple books at a time and just pick a chapter if I wanted to. You might not be this way. But for me, that has, helped remove that attachment to my phone and needing my phone to go sit on the couch, or needing my phone to go put my baby down for a nap. I am now just the worst at keeping up with my phone, and that is so freeing to me. I think that social media can be influential in a positive way. I have learned so much and been inspired by so many people that I've found through social media, but at this stage of my life, I really am better without it. There is a line that for me comes out pretty quick, where scrolling for inspiration turns to competition and fear and lack. So for right now, even though there are helpful voices out there, I have to be really intentional with my media consumption. I do keep up with a couple YouTube accounts, and I use Pinterest for recipes and home design ideas. But again, I have to be pretty intentional with it, or I will get trapped in the scrolling world. Okay, my third swap is DIY anything and everything instead of buying new. Let me remind you again that my swaps might not be for everyone, but I do hope they serve as a starting point for your own self-reflection. I love DIY projects because sometimes I just need a project, like even if it doesn't get finished, like I just need a little project, even something just to think about having a project for, and it's just like a creative expression for me. Other times I think that I want something, and if I go for a DIY version of it first, I spend a good amount of time in the DIY space of planning and gathering instructions, materials, resources, and through this good amount of time, sometimes I come to the conclusion that I don't actually want the thing that I thought I wanted. Maybe I just got caught up in some consumerism or some covetousness, and getting a little bit of space from the cultural ethic of materialism and consumerism, that is freedom to me. Not feeling like I have to answer to the push to make a certain amount of money to be able to buy anything and everything that I want is freedom to me. I can tell you right now that I don't need another thing. I have plenty. My family has plenty. But it's hard to remember that sometimes when we are constantly being advertised to, constantly in view of our neighbors' belongings, and when our sense of lack is like mathematically being preyed upon. DIY has also helped me shift my perspective on money a little bit, and has eased some of my fears and anxieties around money. I've learned that money is not the only currency available to us. So money or cost is not the worthiness indicator that I once believed in. And sometimes a thing is worth dropping money on. That thing that I just said about having plenty, having enough, and not needing another thing. My family, we're actually building a house right now. So yeah, I'm gonna need a sink for the kitchen. But I'm kind of excited to see how much we can do ourselves, how much time I can take getting things right, and ensuring that we purchase the things that we really need to purchase that serve me and my family. One last thing that I want to mention today, and there might be a part 2 to this. I've swapped store-bought eggs for our own farm-raised eggs. And actually this one was kind of cheating because my husband and I have had chickens ever since we were in college, in our little backyard in Austin, Texas, and then we lived in San Antonio and we had chickens. But we are about to dive into meat birds for the first time. So that swap, that's coming soon. But a swap from store-bought eggs to your own farm-raised chicken eggs is so important for me. And I feel like chickens are so easy to learn. I feel that taking care of animals and even like benefiting from them, the way of food, is such an ancient relationship that many of us have lost. And it strengthens our connection to nature and natural processes. And the health benefits of eating locally raised, locally farmed food are astounding. They're like literally divine, and you can't get much more local than from your own backyard. Raising chickens has also been a gateway for me to raising other livestock and to growing more of our own food. Even aside from any interest in growing your own food, raising animals for food, the relationship of raising chickens provides such a good picture of a food system, and for me provokes the consideration of the greater food system in our country, which is something that I do want to have an awareness of. The food that I cook and serve in my home has an immediate effect on my family, so that is something that I care about and that I have decided to educate myself about. From there, I have made choices about how I personally want to source food that we eat, and having those choices and options in front of me is freedom to me. I hope that, if anything, you've taken from this video that it is totally okay to decide that there may be things in your life that you want to shift. Even if those shifts feel awkward at first or countercultural, you have the ability to self-reflect and choose the things that are best for you and your family. Thank you so much for watching. If you have made shifts in motherhood that have given you more freedom, any shifts in your life that have given you more freedom, I would actually love to read those in the comments. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll be back next week.